Okay, let's talk. So I recently had a conversation with a group of people who were complaining that cinema is dead because all that comes out now is a bunch of sequels and reboots and adaptations of Colleen Hoover novels, and they say movies suck now and everything is soulless and there's no point to even going to the theaters anymore. And let me just tell you, that conversation pissed me off. And this isn't new. This is a growing narrative that's been blabbered about everywhere in recent years, especially on the internet. And if I have to give my honest opinion on this, I think this is people lying to themselves. I mean, sure, studios are pushing franchises and marketing franchises, but that doesn't mean non-franchise movies suddenly stopped existing. And like I said in a very recent video on the channel, it is now 2 years in a row that the top 10 highest grossing movies of the year are all sequels and franchise films. And to repeat what I said back then, that's not the studio's fault. That's the audience's fault. They're the ones who buy the tickets. They're the ones who choose the movies they're going to watch. Studios have no control over that. Everybody claims to be tired of franchises, but also that's all they ever go see in theaters. They completely ignore indie movies or smaller movies that aren't big franchise projects, and then they claim these movies just don't exist somehow. And like, what? Why is nobody making sense with this? Pick a battle here. There are fantastic, phenomenal, unique, and gorgeous movies coming out every year. Every year. You're just not looking for them. Look, people have been saying cinema is dying for decades now, okay? They said that in the 50s when westerns were huge and the elitists grew to fucking hate it. They said it in the 80s when action movies became the big thing. They said it in the 90s when rom-coms took over. And now they're saying it because of superhero movies and other big franchises. And it's bullshit. It was bullshit back then, and it's bullshit right now. The truth is, cinema isn't dying. People just stopped looking. Popular cinema is always shifting from genre to genre. This isn't anything new, and there's always going to be people to dislike it. Whatever genre is popular, it's not going to please everyone. Cinema, though, is always here, and it's still giving us absolute magic on the regular. But people don't look for it. They wait for the algorithm to feed them whatever reboot and multiverse shit is trending, and they only go see that, they don't like it, and then they complain that the entire art form is extinct. And look, I got nothing against popular cinema. I'm a fucking nerd. I love superhero movies, you know, when they're good. But meanwhile, there are incredibly passionate filmmakers from all around the world who are out here crafting jaw-dropping stories, bold visuals, unique concepts, weird ideas, like taking sharp risks, and nobody notices because it didn't have a 200 million marketing campaign boosting it, and Timothée Chalamet, Dakota Johnson, and Pedro Pascal aren't in it, so they don't watch it, and people just don't look anymore. Every time I hear people complain that no good movies come out anymore, or that big movies are the only thing we're being advertised, okay, sure. Like, I would have accepted this excuse if we were in 1982. But when I hear people throwing that line in the big 2025, I'm just like, you know Google exists, right? It's actually really easy to keep up with movies coming out. I'd go as far as to say that it's never been this easy, and I'm not talking about Marvel movies or big franchise stuff. If you really care about supporting smaller films, indie films with strong storytelling that break away from the mainstream, you can literally do that in one Google search. You saying those movies don't exist anymore and that all we get are franchise films doesn't tell me cinema is dead. It tells me you don't actually care enough to look for them. And I'm starting to be really annoyed by this. I've been hearing it everywhere around me and online, and I'm tired of people saying that. So I decided to make a video showcasing 10 incredible movies that nobody really watched and nobody really talks about, even though they're right there. You could just watch them. And you know what? I'm even gonna go a step further, just to prove a petty-ass point that these movies are more frequent than everybody pretends. I'm only gonna talk about films that came out in the last 2 years. Every movie I'm about to tell you about came out in 2023, and 2024. Really just goes to show that it's not that hard to find them if you're actually trying to. Plus, you know, I spend so much time on this channel being a generational hater and yapping about things I don't like, so it's always nice here and there to take a chance to talk about things I actually really love, and I can put you onto the good stuff and remind you that there is still a lot of incredible art out there. Cinema isn't dead. Curiosity is. Okay, enough yapping, let's get down to business. Here are 10 incredible movies released in the last couple of years that for some reason nobody watched. Number 10. DIDI. To kick off this list, I wanted to talk about a movie that made me feel a very deep sense of joy. A movie that was criminally ignored by audiences last year. DIDI is an incredibly beautiful and emotional coming-of-age story about a 13-year-old Taiwanese-American boy named DIDI, whose life goes through massive ups and downs at the end of summer break, a few weeks before the start of high school. We watch him as he tries to find his place in the world that surrounds him, find balance while navigating his loving but chaotic family, his friends, his first crush, his identity, his hobby as a skater and video maker, and the pressure to fit in and to reach expectations for his mother's approval. The movie takes place in 2008 in the Bay Area, and it really captures that time faithfully, especially when it comes to the internet. The sense of nostalgia I felt watching this movie was crazy, both in the presentation of the era, but also in the themes of the story, and also in the way I relate to the character, because I was 13 years old in the summer of 2008. I was about to enter high school that year, and I felt so much of what this movie is about.
Stop wearing my clothes.
Stop wearing my clothes. Dumb horse.
He just called me a whore!
Called you a horse, like your zodiac sign.
DIDI is a very funny movie. It's very pure and lighthearted, but it also blends that humor with a lot of emotional honesty. It's incredible at showcasing the pressure of generational differences, especially in an immigrant family, but it also very candidly explores the awkwardness of that age where you're not quite a kid anymore, but not fully a teenager either. DIDI desperately wants to fit in, but at that age, the stakes are starting to feel higher. He's searching for a sense of who he is, not just in his own cultural identity, but personally. How should he talk? How should he act? Who should he be hanging out with? What does it mean to be cool when you don't see many people like you in your surroundings? And that's the genius of this movie. Everybody, in some way, shape, or form, can see themselves in DIDI. Whether because you are a teenager and you're currently going through a version of that, or because you're an adult and you remember having gone through that. In other words, this movie is kind of the universal experience of getting at an age where figuring out who you want to be actually starts to matter, and that reality makes you immediately relate to this character, and you're just rooting for him the whole way through. The cast is incredible, the movie looks beautiful, the writing is so heartwarming. DIDI is just fantastic, and it deserves so much love. If you have not seen DIDI, please watch it. It's fucking incredible. Number 9. Kill Boksoon. Okay, so every time I make a video like this, I always make a point of showcasing movies from different countries and different cultures. Because if there's one thing I have learned during my time on the internet, is that a lot of you people will never give a movie a chance if it isn't in the English language. And I think that's messed up. So please allow me to show you that different countries also make amazing movies, and you should absolutely give them the time of day. Let's start with this one. Kill Boksoon is a Korean action movie released in 2023 that tells the story of Gil Boksoon, a middle-aged single mother to a teenage daughter who everybody believes to be a luxury event planner. However, Boksoon is not really an event planner. She's actually one of the most dangerous assassins ever known to mankind, revered as a legend by her peers and feared by everyone else. But she struggles to find a good work-life balance, and wanting to be a more present and competent parent, she decides to retire from her career as a hitman to focus on her relationship with her daughter in a quieter life. She only has one last assignment to complete, but when she finds out who the target is and who placed a hit on their head, for the very first time, Boksoon refuses to go through with it. And that decision has a price, because disobeying the secret agency she works for breaks a sacred rule that immediately makes Boksoon the target of the entire hitman industry. And before she knows it, every assassin in Korea comes after her, but she doesn't intend to go down without a fight. Kill Boksoon is a very fun and unique action comedy that wears its inspirations on its sleeve. This movie is not shy about having been heavily influenced by the likes of John Wick and Kill Bill, and it is a blast when it comes to its action sequences, and believe me, those sequences are a lot of fun. They're dynamic and creative and funny, both in their choreography and in their direction. This movie just excels at being an extremely entertaining action flick. But the real heart of the movie is the complex bonds between the characters, which makes it stand apart from more classic revenge films. There's a very intentional absurdity in the idea that Boksoon is a vicious assassin who enjoys tracking people down, fighting them, and murdering them, and that's the easy part of her life. Parenting a teenager is the part she struggles with, and most of the emotional investment you will have in this story is rooted in her relationship with her daughter, which itself takes a very shocking turn during the movie. Boksoon also has to face assassins that were her former colleagues, people she went on missions with before, who are now coming to kill her. There are a lot of very intriguing dynamics at play here, and it makes the story incredibly compelling to follow. Kill Boksoon is, I believe, on Netflix worldwide, so if you want a badass, entertaining, and emotional action movie that doubles as clever and hilarious commentary about the difficulties of parenthood, this one's got you covered. Number 8. The Holdovers. Look, it's December, winter is showing its face. It's very important to me that I give you a cozy comfort movie to watch, okay? The type of movie you watch while wrapped in a comfy blanket with some hot chocolate. And boy, do I have the movie for you. The Holdovers is a movie that came out in 2023 and that tells the story of Paul Hunnam, an uptight and unpleasant professor at an all-boys elite prep school in 1970 New England who is forced by the headmaster to stay on campus over Christmas break to babysit a small group of 5 turbulent students with nowhere to go. After the majority of them leave on a spontaneous ski trip organized by one of their rich fathers, Paul finds himself stuck with a troubled and arrogant student with an attitude who was the only one left behind by his friends. The two do not get along in the slightest, but have to learn to coexist for the next couple of weeks. And so, Paul finds himself forming an unexpected bond with his student, as the school grounds are now only inhabited by the two of them, along with the school's cook, a lonely woman grieving the recent loss of her son. The film stars Paul Giamatti, who is probably giving the best performance of his career, Divine Joy Randolph, who is fully forgiven for the idol in this role, and newcomer Dominic Sessa in his very first role. You might have more recently seen his face in Now You See Me 3. Basically, The Holdovers is a deeply human movie about a trio of misfits who have absolutely nothing in common, who are from different backgrounds, different generations, different class, but that in being forced to live under the same roof, somehow find comfort in one another, showcasing how little these things matter. This movie is so charming. It is so cozy, so soft, so inviting. The aesthetics of the film are incredible. It makes it feel so relaxing and cozy. It's beautiful to look at. The performances are so good. These characters feel so real. And even if these two bozos are meant to be unlikable assholes, there is so much humanity that comes from them that you can't help but get attached to them the more you get to know them.
I told you to stop! You said you washed your hands of me! No, I meant it metaphorically! Of course you meant it metaphorically! What were you gonna do, actually go and wash your hands?
The emotional side of the movie is also very strong, and it basks in this atmosphere that is so intimate and dreamy. Like, this movie feels like a warm hug. The characters are full of layers. They all have this common theme of being people hiding a great deal of pain due to grief, abandonment, solitude, you name it. But the movie deals with all of that in a way that is so profoundly human and careful. It's honestly one of the most heartwarming movies I've seen in years, and it might have become one of my ultimate comfort movies of all time. This is definitely a movie I'm going to watch every winter without fail, because it is just that cozy. It's the holidays, Christmas is right around the corner. If you need a night to relax and disconnect and watch a movie that will give gentle scratches on your brain and restore your faith in humanity, do yourself a favor. Watch The Holdovers. Number 7. You Are the Universe. Completely switching genres, let's get to a completely different one that is very near and dear to my heart. Space shit. You Are the Universe is a Ukrainian sci-fi movie released in 2024 that tells the very odd story of a lonely space trucker named Andrei who becomes the last human being in the universe after Earth suddenly explodes. With limited food and resources and with for only companion a robot on his spaceship programmed to keep him entertained, Andrei is forced to accept his sinister fate and tries to make the best of what little time he has left. That is until, on a random day, he randomly receives a call from Catherine, a French woman who is stranded on a distant space station near Saturn. So, in a desperate plea for human connection after the apocalypse, Andrei decides to put everything on the line to try and find Catherine. If I'm not mistaken, this movie premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival last year, and the few people who have seen the movie since only have positive things to say about it, and I'm including myself in that. I saw it kind of on a whim, like not really knowing what I was getting into, and when it ended, I was so floored by what I had just watched that I just got upset I didn't have anybody to talk to this about, because nobody's seen this movie. Just like The Holdovers, there are movies that are so unbelievably charming that you just cannot help but feel your heart get all warm because of them, and this is definitely one of those. You Are the Universe is such a genuine piece of storytelling. I love it so much. The movie is like this incredible expression of human compassion and connection, and the entire thing is built around its absolutely brilliant dialogue. The entire time you're essentially watching one guy talking to a voice over the phone, but it is so captivating, and the bond Andrei and Catherine form is so magnetic that you just cannot get enough of it. You never get bored. I was glued to my screen. Like, the movie is only 90 minutes, but by the time it ended, I could have sworn it was a 15-minute short film. This thing flew by. The main actor who plays the protagonist is so unbelievably good, it's crazy. He is so effective at playing the kind of everyday man who is both extremely charismatic and equally super ordinary, in a way where pretty much anybody could relate to him, despite being in a position nobody can relate to. And the story, just like the character, is very funny and incredibly moving. I didn't expect to feel so emotional watching this, and it left me with such a wide range of feelings. This movie was honestly beautiful. If I remember correctly, You Are the Universe currently is available to watch on Amazon Prime. I'm not sure if that's everywhere, but I think it is where I'm at, and I cannot recommend it more. Watch this. It is absolute cinema. Number 6. They Clone Tyrone.
I'm going down to the underground.
So 3 years ago, I made a similar video about 10 underrated movies you should watch. In it, I talked about a movie called Dope, a brilliant comedy from 2015 with Shameik Moore, Zoe Kravitz, and A$AP Rocky about a nerdy teenager who gets tricked into becoming a drug dealer. Ever since I made this video, every month I get DMs from some of you guys on Instagram either thanking me for showing them this movie, you're welcome by the way, or asking me on numerous occasions if there were other movies I could recommend that have a similar vibe to Dope. The answer is yes. And here it is. They Clone Tyrone is a Netflix original movie released in 2023. It's a sci-fi comedic thriller about a humorless drug dealer named Fontaine, a smooth-talking pimp named Slick, and a quick-witted sex worker named Yo-Yo who team up and form an unlikely trio when they begin to investigate strange events happening in their neighborhood, taking them down a rabbit hole that leads them to uncover a larger conspiracy. A conspiracy involving black people being used as test subjects in secret government experiments. The movie stars John Boyega, Jamie Foxx, and Teyonah Parris as the three main characters, and also Kiefer Sutherland and Tamberla Perry in supporting roles. It came out in 2023 and was largely ignored by people when it did. There was very little discourse around it, and in many conversations I've had online and with friends, I came to realize that this is a film most people probably never gave the time of day, and I find it heartbreaking because it is very original and out there. I've talked a lot of shit on this channel about Netflix original movies because about 90% of them are garbage products that only exist for marketing purposes. Please refer to this video if you want my deeper thoughts on this topic. I go pretty in depth. But to Netflix's credit, it sometimes does have a diamond in the rough you can see here and there, and this is definitely one of them.
Right now, let a motherfucker try me. Ooh, he gon' die beside me.
They Clone Tyrone is a very clever satirical commentary on systemic racism and the exploitation of black communities being beneficial to white people and to people in power. And it vehicles that message with such style and charisma and with such intrigue that all you want is to find out what happens next. The movie is a 70s inspired, vibrant comedy with insane cinematography, very dramatic themes, and a sense of mystery that makes it feel quite unique. But all of this serves as an ode to black culture and the systemic failures that shaped parts of it, and it's done in a way that purposefully pokes fun at its own scenario. This is a movie that is very deliberately absurd with its ideas, and that makes a point of being very in your face about that absurdity, and that's what makes it so entertaining. It's a very smart movie disguising itself as a silly one, and everything else aside, it's just a really fucking good time. The dialogue is quick and snappy, the characters are fascinating and so entertaining, with distinct personalities. Everybody is so fucking funny. Everybody gets a moment to shine. It is very rare that Hollywood allows for weird, unique, and outside-the-box movies like this to be made at this scale and to even exist for the most part, so I think it's important to give them their flowers. Please watch They Clone Tyrone. You won't regret it. Number 5. His Three Daughters. Well, if the last movie was purely about entertainment, this isn't that at all. His Three Daughters is a very emotional drama starring Elizabeth Olsen, Carrie Coon, and Natasha Lyonne as three estranged sisters with complicated relationships. Rachel, Christina, and Katie, who reunite to be with their dying elderly father and care for him during his final days. As they get ready for the inevitable moment of his passing, the sisters try to put aside their grievances and conflicts in order to organize the necessary procedures, which proves difficult when confined in a small space that forces their personalities to clash. The film becomes a tender, sometimes painful, sometimes tense portrait of grief, sisterhood, and family, and exploring how love, anger, guilt, and longing can all coexist when a family faces loss together. The movie was released in 2024 after a lengthy festival run that had it showered with praise, and it's really not difficult to see why. His Three Daughters is one hell of a movie. It is so real and raw and human and strangely immersive in its approach. It's the kind of movie that makes you feel like you are right there in the room with the characters when they're having conversations, so when the situation is tense, you feel it in your bones. But in its totality, despite dealing with complex family dynamics, unresolved conflicts, and toxic relationships, the movie feels very warm and kind. And this entire thing is carried by the masterful performances of the three main actresses. All three of these ladies bring their A game from beginning to end. They're able to bring so much nuance to their individual characters, making you just as torn as they are over their guilt and their sense of obligation as daughters, as sisters, as women. And all of it is communicated through incredibly organic conversations that never make you feel like you're being pandered to. Really, this movie barely feels like a movie. It really just feels like a window into the lives of three human beings during a particularly difficult time. It's the type of film that I think about for weeks after seeing them, and I just could not stop thinking about this one. It is such a human movie. It will make you feel things and warm your heart, and you know what? Given the current times, I think we could all use a bit of that. Number 4. Rye Lane. I think it would be safe to say that rom-coms haven't been all that popular lately, and for good reason. For the most part, current rom-coms have been lazily written, mindless slop with flat characters, half-assed products that feel like they were made by AI and rely way too much on Taylor Swift music to get any sort of traction, and nobody's really interested in them. They're in a pretty bad era. However, every now and then, there is a rom-com that comes around and promptly reminds you why this genre can be so great. Rom-coms that just ooze charisma and fun writing, interesting characters with amazing chemistry, and a solid story at the center of everything. For me, in recent years, that movie was Rye Lane. Rye Lane is a British romantic comedy released in 2023 that tells the story of Dom and Yaz, two 20-somethings from South London who meet at an art exhibition organized by a mutual friend. Both of them are still recovering from recent breakups that changed their lives. Dom's girlfriend of 6 years cheated on him with his best friend, who is now dating her, and Yaz ended her relationship with her boyfriend for reasons she keeps quiet. The pair gets along immediately and sparks up an unlikely connection as they decide to walk home together through the Rye Lane market, encountering some unpredictable circumstances in their path that leads them to a surprising series of events. The movie is director Rain Allen Miller's debut feature film, and it stars David Johnson, who many people have gotten to know last year in Alien Romulus, and Vivian Opara, who I didn't really know before this, aside from a short appearance in one episode of Michaela Cole's I May Destroy You. Rye Lane is so good, and I mean so good. It's such a fun movie, and it's so captivating in its way to tell its story. I'm such a sucker for contained narratives that feel small and intimate, and this is the perfect example of why. Because the majority of the movie takes place during the course of a single day, so when you follow Yaz and Dom through their walk home, you almost feel like you're following them in real time, which in turn makes you feel like you're right there with them. The chemistry between the two lead leads is fucking insane. Their banter is so fun to watch, and both of these actors are amazing in their roles. They make the characters feel like such real people. You immediately want to be their friends. The story is full of clever little twists and turns that just makes this romance incredibly entertaining, and at times it's really good at keeping you on your toes in a way where you're not entirely sure how this is gonna end. Rye Lane is another one of those movies that flies by. It's pretty short, only about an hour and 20 minutes, but it feels even shorter. This has also become such a comfort movie to me. It's cozy and funny and charming and cute as fuck, and I just love it. If you haven't seen Rye Lane, please do yourself a favor and watch it. It's a good time, I promise. Number 3. Mars Express. Mars Express is an animated sci-fi cyberpunk murder mystery released in 2023. It was made by a very small independent studio from France, and it's a movie that was unfortunately completely overlooked when it came out, which makes me incredibly sad because it is so fucking good. Mars Express takes place in the year 2200, at the dawn of the 23rd century, in a future where a large portion of the human race now lives on Mars. The story follows a hot-headed private detective named Aline Ruby and her android companion Carlos, who was modeled after Aline's dead husband, as they try to investigate an extremely bizarre murder case that leads them to also follow the trail of a missing girl who holds a secret that could change the course of humanity. The film premiered at the Cannes Film Festival to thunderous acclaim, and I can only understand why. Personally speaking, any movie that is Blade Runner coded with a dark cyberpunk vibe and a mystery set in a futuristic city, you got me. And man, this movie scratches every itch. Mars Express is a movie that just hits different. The mystery is incredible and super compelling. The characters are intriguing and cleverly play on specific genre tropes to make a particular point. Aline, in particular, is explored in a very interesting way, especially when it comes to her past, and the overall setting of the story is just amazing. The movie takes place both on Earth and on Mars, and you kind of get to see the way humanity interacts with technology in a universe that is dependent on it more than ever before. There's corruption around it, trafficking, and hackers have globally become the most dangerous criminals in the universe, so the sort of utopia of Mars quickly becomes something more sinister, hiding behind a pretty facade of an evolved society. But at the end of the day, people are people, and people are flawed, and that has consequences. Mars Express dives into all these ideas in fascinating ways, all while solving a very dark mystery at the same time. If you want your neo-noir detective movie in a setting reminiscent of Blade Runner, Ghost in the Shell, and other things like that, with a dark and eerie vibe and some great writing and with a mystery that will leave you gasping on the floor, my guy, this is it. This is the one. Watch this movie. Number 2. Beating Hearts. Yeah, we're still in France. Beating Hearts is a French movie released in 2024 that tells the grand, epic, decade-long love story of Jackie and Clotaire, two misunderstood individuals who meet as teenagers and begin an unlikely but life-changing romance. Clotaire is a high school dropout coming from a very poor household laced with violence, which has isolated him from others, and Jackie comes from a richer home with a more comfortable family, but she also feels alienated from the world around her because she is grieving the recent passing of her mother, an event that drastically transformed her behavior. So the two meet at a very particular and pivotal time in their lives. Their connection is undeniable, and they fall in love hard. In each other, they find an escape from the bleak reality of their daily lives, making them see a light at the end of the tunnel, a way forward through this passionate love. However, their dreamlike romance quickly takes a dark turn when Clotaire gets involved with a gang to make money and begin sinking deeper and deeper into a life of crime. The film is separated in two parts. The first one taking place in the 80s when Jackie and Clotaire meet as teenagers, and the second taking place in the 90s, 10 years later, when they're adults in their mid to late 20s. Both parts have very different senses of stakes that make them stand on their own, almost like you're watching two different stories, but about the same two characters. It's kind of a modern retelling of the classic forbidden love kind of story, the romance between two people from different worlds, destined to fail. And the movie isn't trying to be subtle about it, because the very first scene shows you Clotaire entering a shootout between two gangs that ends with him taking a bullet to the head, before jumping back 10 years in the past. The curious thing with Beating Hearts is that, for reasons I find a bit ridiculous, critics absolutely fucking hated this movie, especially American critics, but audiences absolutely loved it, and it was one of the biggest movies in France in 2024. Even if you go on Rotten Tomatoes, it has like a 44% critic score, but an audience score that is like in the 80s. Personally, I saw this movie without knowing anything about it. I didn't know what it was about. I just knew it starred two actors I absolutely love, and I was in Paris when it had just come out, and my friend and I decided to go see it on a whim, and we both came out of it super pleasantly surprised. And the thing I find stupid is that the reason why critics don't like this movie, like the biggest criticism they have towards it, is simply that, quote, the film doesn't do anything new. And, okay. So what? That doesn't necessarily make a movie bad. It's bad if the movie sucks because of bad writing, bad acting, bad whatever. But if the movie slaps, it slaps. I don't care that it's not doing anything new. This movie is big. This movie is loud. This movie oozes energy. It is so dynamic and so unafraid of its loud personality. It's melodramatic and over the top, and that's why it's so fun. It aims at doing one thing and one thing only: entertain you, and it succeeds. Beating Hearts is pure entertainment. It's vibrant and bold, it's colorful and magnetic. Sure, the plot doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it also seamlessly blends several genres without ever compromising the story's identity, which I think makes it stand out significantly. At times it's a romantic comedy, at times it's a crime thriller, at times it's an action blockbuster, and it balances all of that incredibly well. The movie never feels like it's incoherent. Now, yes, I will say, the movie is quite long. It is easily the longest movie on this list, coming in at a pretty hefty 2 hours and 40 minutes. But I didn't mind that at all. It's meant to be a big, epic love story taking place throughout 10 years and involving a crazy crime plot. It could have been a little bit shorter, but its runtime really isn't a problem. This movie fucking slaps. It's so charismatic. It looks gorgeous. The cinematography is amazing. The performances are so good. The story is super exciting, and the characters, while not being anything groundbreaking, are interesting and come at you with a great deal of emotion. So what the fuck do you care that this doesn't reinvent the wheel? You don't need it to. It's a good story told with a great deal of passion and incredibly well directed. It's some of the most entertaining times I've had at the cinema in recent years, and it totally deserves the success it had in France. This may not be a movie for film elitists, but it talked to general audiences for a reason. You should absolutely watch Beating Hearts. It's so good, it's so fun, and it deserves to be a success outside of France as well. Alright, and with that, we get to number 1. There's Still Tomorrow. This is the movie I watched the most recently out of this entire list, and boy, I'm glad I did watch it right before I started working on this video. There's Still Tomorrow is an Italian comedy drama released in 2023 that takes place in Rome in 1946. It tells the story of Delia, the wife of an abusive drunk and mother of 3 children who tries to do her best on a daily basis to keep things afloat in a home where no one respects her. Her husband, Ivano, is a prick who constantly belittles her and waits for any excuse to unload his own frustrations onto her physically. Her oldest child, a teenage daughter, has lost all respect for her and resents her for allowing herself to stay stuck in this miserable life with this miserable husband who beats her and treats her like a worthless piece of garbage. She resents her mother for not having any dignity. Delia doesn't know what to do and has pretty much accepted that this is what her existence is going to be, because if she were to leave Ivano, she has absolutely no idea where she would go. So dignity and safety be damned, she chooses to stay every day, trying to find bits of joy wherever she can and be the best mother and wife she can be. But one day, everything changes when Delia unexpectedly receives a mysterious letter that leaves her completely baffled. And she immediately understands that no matter what happens, that letter needs to stay hidden from everyone, especially her husband, until the right moment, because it has the power to completely transform the course of her family's life. The movie was directed by Paola Cortellesi, who also plays Delia, and this is actually her directorial debut. It was a massive local success. It was the highest grossing movie of the country in 2023, and it is currently the 10th highest grossing movie of all time in Italy. But outside of Italy, it's kind of been crickets. And that fucking sucks. It's a pretty daring film that addresses very serious topics of abuse, domestic violence, raging misogyny, and the normalization of trauma, and it deals with all of those topics with a lot of honesty and care, but also with a lot of humor. And that is, without a doubt, the genius of this movie. It manages to bring a lot of levity and jokes to its subject matter while still taking all of it very seriously. It's incredibly difficult to strike that balance without risking to compromise your message, but Paola pulls it off so incredibly well that the humor never feels out of place in this movie, and the jokes never feel like they undermine the seriousness of the topics being discussed. There's Still Tomorrow is an incredibly powerful film in ways that you won't even expect until what is without a doubt one of the best endings to a movie I've seen in quite a while, and I'm not gonna elaborate on that. You'll see it when you see it. The movie is funny and quirky, but when it needs to get serious and emotional, it doesn't pull any punches, and everything is done with such a level of authenticity and with such earnest performances that you will be thinking about it for days after you finish it. It's a very precious film, and I think everybody should watch it. And there you go! 10 incredible movies that deserve way more attention. Now you can watch those and stop saying cinema is dead. I could be doing way more of these, by the way, because I had so many names in mind, it's not even funny. If you enjoyed this video, hey, give it a like. That always helps, always appreciated. And if you have any recommendations for movies that are incredible but that nobody seems to have watched, feel free to name drop in the comments down below. I'm very excited to go through them and hopefully add things to my own watch list. But that's it for me for today. Let me know if you'd like me to make more of those recommendation videos in the future. But that aside, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.
Red like Hitachi.